Steve, when you're going about your business, I mean, obviously you're working with a ton of property owners. That's your focus. Are you seeing that most of those owners have a protective legal structure around their property, like an LLC? I mean, when you're going, what do you notice?
Yeah, so the smaller landlords, no. I rarely see that with the mom and pops or just a few units. The larger landlords, yes, I am seeing some form of asset protection, the form of like an LLC, a limited liability company, as the owner of the property, as the title owner. Typically what I see in the smaller landlords are a lot of individual owners and a lot of trusts, so into a living trust. So the owner transfers or buys a property to be held in the name of their trust. And Brad will explain right now that generally my understanding is that there's not a lot of asset protection in individual ownership or ownership in a trust. Is that true, Brad?
Yeah, that's great. And so addressing both those issues, and I agree with you that the smaller mom and pops are taken in their name individually. And as I mentioned previously, that a lot of our clients do have real estate as part of their overall investment portfolio. And I did mention previously also, but it's also their primary source of liability because of all of those unknowns. And I can't tell you, Steve, time and time and time again, it's because the property is in their personal name. Their entire net worth, everything they've worked so hard for, is completely at risk simply because they didn't take some affirmative steps to put that property in, as you correctly identified, in an LLC. It is the proper structure. And we do also get a lot of pushback saying, well, everything's inside my family trust. I don't have to worry about this stuff. And you also correctly stated that a regular revocable living trust, your typical estate planning trust, does not offer any asset protection. And the reasons for that is just a matter of dominion and control issues. A revocable living trust is typically created by, let's say, in this case, the landlord creates it, in their individual name. They actually are acting as the trustee, so they have the full management and control. They retain the power to revoke it and modify it. They are the beneficiary of that trust. So effectively, there really isn't any difference. There's no distinct entity in a trust realm between them and the activities on the land. And so that's why if it's in their family trust, it's great for probate avoidance. It's great for orderly distribution of assets through an estate plan, but there's zero when it comes to asset protection. Now, that being said, however, there are certain types of trusts that do offer asset protection. It's not your common family trust, but there are a handful of trusts that are used primarily in the more advanced estate planning areas, where some of those characteristics I just mentioned, as far as trustee, beneficiary, revocability, some of those are kind of mixed up for different reasons. And the consequence of that is that trust now would be deemed a separate entity, and then one step removed from the landlord, so they would not have personal liability. So I agree with everything you said, and an LLC is the proper structure, and I don't know reasons why people don't do this when even the small mom and pop, because it's really all not that complicated, and creating LLCs has been pretty commoditized over the years. So it's not something that people aren't readily aware of or don't have access to. And even if you look at a cost perspective between setting up something here in California, albeit one of the most expensive states in the country, to operate an LLC, just because of the franchise tax annual fee, even if you just, I tell my clients, raise your rent to $100 a month. And you cover all your costs, or $75 a month to cover all your costs. So this is an example of where you're a penny wise and a pound foolish. If you don't want to create an LLC because you don't want to pay California $800, then you're in the wrong line of business.